I'm Travis, and I've advised thousands of student loan borrowers with $750 million in student loan debt, and I've really found 9 effective habits, highly effective habits of paying back student loans. So if you watch this video, you're going to see what those 9 highly effective student loan repayment strategies are so that you can pay your student loans in the smartest way and get out of debt as fast as possible. First, you need to know your why. Why are you paying back your student loan debt? Is it because you want the debt to not burden you anymore so that you can start a family or buy a house or maybe take your dream vacation? When you understand why you don't like the student loans and why the student loans cause a mental burden, then you're going to just be a lot more empowered to get rid of the debt faster with extra big payments so that you can visualize what comes after the student loan debt. And sometimes keep in mind that that student loan strategy might be going for forgiveness instead of full repayment, meaning that you might need to understand your why of student loans could be that you're paying as little as possible or as much as possible depending on what is the right strategy for you. That's the second highly effective habit, is they have a plan. Borrowers that have a plan do way better than those that do not. So the thing is sometimes plans are wrong. Sometimes we have to change our plans. Sometimes things don't go according to plan, and that's okay. What's worse than having a plan that's not perfect is having no plan at all. So let me give you an example of what having no plan at all is like. Essentially, if you make extra $50 a month payments and you just don't know why you're doing it, that's an example of not having a plan. Signing up for the IBR option that your person from school told you to sign up for and just kind of paying it and not really knowing what's going on, that's not having a plan. So have a plan for your student loan debt, even if it's wrong. Number 3 is choosing the right repayment plan. So this is actually a lot more important than you would think. You can refinance, you can do IBR, pay-as-you-earn, revised pay-as-you-earn, income contingent repayment, graduated, extended. There's all these different repayment plans, goodness sakes, that you could choose from. And a highly effective strategy is to choose one that makes sense for your situation. So if you're trying to pay your debt back eventually, but not right now, choose the revised pay-as-you-earn. If you're married and you need to exclude your spouse's income from your payment, choose pay-as-you-earn. If you're needing to pay back your loans with the lowest interest rate possible, then you should refinance with a private lender. So borrowers that really are effective at paying back their student loans choose an intentional payment plan for their student debt. Number 4 is having a budget. So you don't actually need to have a traditional budget where you write everything down in that sense of the word. You simply need to sign up for something like min.com or ynab.com, which are tools that you can use to track what your spending is. And just by being aware of what you're spending, you're going to spend less. The other thing that I would give people advice for is for your house, you want to not purchase a house more than 2 times your joint household income. If you follow that rule, you can really spend anything you want on going out to eat, vacations, etc. And from my experience, it's not going to bust your budget. So have a budget, know what you're spending, have awareness around where your finances are going. Number 5 is credit score. So in practice, you really only need a credit score maybe above 750, and then you can kind of not worry about it anymore. You don't need an 850 perfect credit score. And if your credit score is not really what you want it to be, there's a couple concrete things you can do to fix it. Make sure you have on-time payments. Set up automatic payments for your credit cards. Again, going back to the earlier step, if you track your spending, you'll know where everything's going and you'll be more aware of what the amount of credit card debt that you have is so that you can not miss payments and not delay payments, which will lower your credit score. You also want to maybe pay off your credit card instead of once a month, maybe try paying twice a month simply by going in, logging onto your credit card statement, and making a payment. That's going to decrease what's called your utilization ratio, meaning the available credit that you have used divided by the total amount that you have. So for example, if you have $20,000 of available credit and you're only using $2,000 on a given month, that's the maximum size that your credit card balance grows to before you pay it off. That's going to help with your credit score. So make on-time payments, track your spending, and that's going to build your credit score up to the mid-700s, which once it's above that level, you don't really need to worry about it too much anymore. Number 6 is when to refinance or not. So when is the best time to refinance? That's a highly effective habit that student loan borrowers that do great with their student loan debt know when to pull the trigger on. So for when to refinance, if you have less than 1.25 times your income in student loan debt, and you work in the private sector and you have an emergency fund, then it's a good time to refinance. That's for federal debt. And if you have private student loan debt, you should really check every 6 months to see if you can get a lower interest rate. Number 7 is dealing with student loan anxiety effectively. So to deal with student loan anxiety effectively, you simply need to remember that everyone has it. In our surveys, we find 80 to 90% of people have just serious student loan anxiety, and that's tough, but know that it's normal. And then you can't let negative thoughts turn into negative emotions. Take the anxiety and acknowledge it. Just get it out there. Know that it exists. Know that almost every student loan borrower goes through severe anxiety about their student loan debt. And just realize that if you have the plan, if you follow the other steps in this list, it's going to prevent that anxiety from turning into feelings that are worse. 8 is celebrating wins, even if they're small. For example, if you've paid down your student loans or you're in the process of it, celebrate the little milestones of the journey to zero. Maybe throw a party, $200K, $150K, $100K. Once we are out of this pandemic and everyone's back to normal again, we're really going to want to celebrate the little wins, maybe with friends, with going out to eat. Just make sure you acknowledge those little wins because it's going to motivate you to do even more. And also celebrate the wins that are just in your finances in general. Because if you're a student loan borrower, you might feel less able to buy a house or start a family or start retirement savings. And if you take steps to do those other things in your finances that are so healthy and helpful, that's something that's worth celebrating too. So don't just focus on getting to zero debt, celebrate the wins along the way. And finally, 9 is asking for help. So even if you can't afford professional help, that's what Student Loan Planner does, is people hire us for a few $100s to craft custom plans for people where we help kind of guide people on these 9 effective habits and how to structure them for their own life. But you need to ask for help, otherwise you can't get it. So some people will be able to afford to pay for help, but not everybody can. So if you can't afford to, or you're not ready to at this time, seek out free resources. Free resources might be things like the Student Loan Planner podcast. People can go on studentloanplanner.com/voicemail and ask questions for free for our podcast, and we give answers for free over the airwaves on our podcast. All you got to do is just check out Student Loan Planner and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, and you can get that. So also ask for help of your student loan servicer. They might not give it to you, but you might as well ask, because if you don't ask, you will not receive, right? And also ask for help if you're having problems with forgiveness programs. Contact your senator's constituent services office and let them know that the student loan servicer is dragging their feet on giving you the kind of credit that you deserve towards forgiveness. It might take a while, but getting a senator's constituent services office involved is going to help you get to the forgiveness count that you deserve. So ask for help if you need it. If you don't ask for help, how are you going to get the best outcomes for your student loan debt, right? So, and that's if you need it. Some people can go through these list of steps and really figure it out, but not everybody can, right? So when should you try to implement these steps? Just take a deep breath and get started. Review the 9 effective habits of student loan borrowers so that you can effectively pay back your student loan debt. And if you need further resources, you can either hire professional help at Student Loan Planner, or you can just check out studentloanplanner.com and the podcast and get help that way. So which of these 9 effective habits of student loan borrowers do you think is the most important? Put that in the comments and subscribe to the channel here so you can get more strategies like this for paying back your student loan debt. Thank you for watching.